pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. The minutes were provided earlier for the March 8th meeting. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Next item is approval of the State Board of Education agenda for today. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. Do we have any visitors or news media with us? I don't think so. Here comes the, we have one, okay. Thank you very much. And that appears to be, is it Cody, can't read the last name, Priestman? Okay, we got you back there in the back. Welcome, glad to have you with us today. And that's all of those that we have. And so the next item up is the State Board Chair's report, and I'm happy to tell you that we had a wonderful orientation yesterday for our new members. Madam Superintendent, I want to thank you and your staff for that. We had a very information-filled afternoon, and that was followed by some fellowship with our new board members, and so it was just a great afternoon, and hopefully that's going to be a tradition going forward. So that's the extent of my report. Madam Superintendent, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to us to be together. I feel back at home sitting here with you all today. I've got some good news to share. We are now down to our 5 finalists for the 2023 State South Carolina Teacher of the Year. They're lovely pictures there. You can see them all smiling brightly. Let me tell you about them. On the left, on my left there, is Zachary Arms. Zachary is a 9 through 12 social studies teacher at Liberty High School in Pickens County School District. He earned his bachelor in history and secondary education from Clemson University, and he is in his 4th year of teaching. And Dr. Collier, I don't believe, Dr. Collier, this is one of your constituents, so I hope you will get a chance to meet Zachary, just very outstanding. The thing about Zachary, I remember in meeting him, and we went to each of their classrooms to announce this, but while he is not a music teacher, he volunteers as the assistant band director and just does a lot of extracurricular activities with the students at his school. Next is Jamie Gooker, who is a 7th grade math teacher at Woodruff Middle School in Spartanburg County, in Spartanburg 4. She received her undergraduate degree in elementary education from USC Upstate and is a graduate, has a graduate degree in elementary education from Converse College and a graduate degree in elementary and secondary administration from Converse. She is in her 20th year of teaching, all 20 of those coming at Woodruff Middle School. And Mr. Heisey, that's one of your constituents down in Spartanburg County. We enjoyed visiting at Woodruff. Just lovely. Her family came in that day, and it's just a wonderful experience being in her classroom. Dion Jameson, our next finalist, is a 7th through 10th grade English teacher at Legacy Early College, a charter school in Greenville County, with the public charter district. He earned his undergraduate degree in sociology, a little different pathway here, at Clemson University, and received a master's from Johns Hopkins University while he was working through Teach for America. So this marks his 4th year in the classroom too, and just another, you could tell when we walked into his classroom, his students just love him, and it was wonderful being there. And he told me that he got a chalkboard when he was a little boy, and that was his dream. He played school all through childhood and dreamed of being a teacher. Laura Merck, and let's see, that's also Dr. Collier. So congratulations, you got 2 of these. Laura Merck, the next young lady, teaches 6th grade math at Springfield Middle School, where she graduated 8th grade. And the same principal is there, who then hired her, and her sixth grade math teacher is now her colleague. So it's very sweet to see that family there. She earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Anderson University and a master's degree from Western Governors University. She's been teaching for 7 years, and she too was just a delight. Thomas Slater is our next and final finalist. I enjoyed this one so much because he is a chorus and general music teacher at Chestnut Oaks Middle School with the Sumter County District. He earned a bachelor's degree from South Carolina State University, a master's in education administration from Grand Canyon University, and he has served over 30 years in the classroom. And Ms. Ryson, he's one of your constituents, a native of Lee County. He told me his father was a principal at Lower Lee Elementary, and he went to elementary school there. So just wonderful people. We had them in for their interviews last Monday over at USC Alumni House. It was a great day, and the judges thoroughly enjoyed meeting all of them, and it is a well-kept secret of which one will be the 2023 Teacher of the Year. So you got to come on May the 4th to be the first to find out who our next Teacher of the Year is. We had another big event. The Milken Family Foundation came to South Carolina, as they often do since 1994. They have been coming into South Carolina announcing 1 to 2 teachers, educators. In fact, somebody's on the screen, Dr. David O'Shields. David, wave. I believe you are a former Milken winner. And he hasn't spent that $25,000 check yet, have you, David? You're still saving it, right? Because they bring with them a $25,000 check. They have given over, you see there, over $1.5 million just here in South Carolina. And we were very, very thrilled to go to Dutch Fork Middle School. 8th grade teacher, English language arts teacher, Leslie Snyder, was surprised when we all showed up at her school in an assembly, and she was announced on April 6th as a Milken educator. So that was a lot of fun. Now, a big challenge for us, tackling teacher shortage. I get this question almost everywhere I go. Talked with a group of teachers this morning, about 50 teachers over at the State House this morning, who are on their spring break, but who care so much they came on spring break to meet with legislators. What are we going to do about the teacher shortage? And I want you to know that we are dedicating some of our agency ESSER funds to the teacher shortage recruitment programs. One, we've dedicated $3.5 million to this area in 3 areas. One called Teach SC. That is a technology program. We're working with colleges and universities to recruit folks who it's kind of difficult for them to go to college. Maybe they're working full-time or they don't have the means to do that. So we're very, very excited about the Teach SC program. We have also donated funds to Teaching Fellows to expand that program by, I believe it's over 30 additional teachers, and the same for a program that I love so much, Call Me Mister. We have dedicated funding to expand both of those programs in South Carolina. We have also, thanks to our staff here, we have a new teacher-driven initiative that will allow our teachers to volunteer. This is not anything we're putting on them. They can volunteer to select, implement, and examine effectiveness, an evidence-based program in their classroom, and do research with it, collect data, and work with the Marzano Research Group to, we've invested over $2 million to support this program, to help them, and to find best practices that are going on right here in South Carolina. The 4 districts that we are working with now, you see on the screen, Charter, Institute at Erskine, Florence 2, Lexington 2, and Pickens. So we're very, very proud of that. Lots going on. I'm just all in awe, as always, when I meet teachers. Those teachers this morning, one of them said, and I quote, he said, I almost didn't make it, but I'm pretty tough, and I've survived COVID, and I'm not going to quit, and I'm going to be a teacher. And I've got lots of my colleagues who feel the same way. We're going to hang in there and do this. So we need to support them in any way that we can. So we have a lot to be proud of, and a special thank you to our classroom teachers and all our educators who are out there every day. So we look forward to the May 4th event, because that's one way we can say thank you and recognize them. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Any questions, Ms. Spearman? If not, we will move on to the parliamentarians' report.
Thank you, Chair. I can't even think today, Walters. I have given you a synopsis for an athletic waiver. We have a district that is very late in the game requesting an athletic waiver for a student. However, I bring this to you not because we're going to do it today, because we're not. But I need to know if you are available, if I can get a quorum for a special called telephone meeting on Thursday. Whatever time you guys can do it as far as a quorum. So before you leave, if you could please see me and just say, can't do it, not going to be available at all, or here's a chunk of time that I am available. And I will, there's no way to do it tomorrow. We don't have enough time to notice anything. We have to do this is not an emergency. I need to do a 24-hour notice prior to the schedule, prior to posting the agenda. So, and I'm selfishly thinking on Friday it would be really difficult, almost difficult for me as well. But so that's why you have this. You will get the final once we do. I do know if we're going to have it on Thursday. And frankly, if we can't have it on Thursday, there's no point having it next week, because we're assuming the season is almost over.
Kathy, how much time will you need?
30 minutes. 30 minutes. And that I am being very conservative there, in the sense that if the last athletic waiver took 12 minutes. You looked at the beginning when we clocked it in and when we clocked it out, 12 minutes. So just conservatively, oftentimes it takes longer to wait on the phone for the quorum than it does for the hearing. So that's all I have today. But, and Mr. Walters may have going to discuss this, but I do want to remind you again that in May, it is the third Tuesday of the month. Our meeting is May 17th, not May 10th. May 10th is a state holiday, so we are not open on May 10th. It is May 17th for the next meeting. And we'll reiterate that again, but I want to plant that seed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item was public comments, but in reviewing the sheets, we didn't have anybody sign up for that today. So we will proceed on to the state board items, and the first one is the Policy and Legislative Committee report. And our committee met this morning, and we only have one action item, but it was a good action item to have, and that was a hiring recommendation for the position of Office of Health and Nutrition Director. And so we were able to vote on and add to the consent agenda the approval for, actually, I guess it's just kind of making official something that was already an interim assignment anyway, but with Donna Davis. And she's here with us this afternoon. If you'd like to stand and be recognized. And I can tell you, we talked a little bit this morning about the fact of what she's had to go through and with COVID and everything else, and supply chain issues and all that entails. I'm glad you still want to do it. So. But thank you and congratulations. And so that was the only item, and as I said, it was placed on the consent agenda. So the next report would be our Educator Professions report, and I'll recognize Ms. Lee to present that.
Thank you, Chairman Walters. The Education Professions Committee approved one action item this morning. This item is the proposed revisions to expanded program for assisting, developing, and evaluating principal performance, the rubric and guidelines. The committee did not hear any information items. The committee placed this one action item on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. The next report, I'll recognize Ms. Frierson with the Standards Learning and Accountability Committee report.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Walters. The Standards Learning and Accountability Committee had 2 action items this morning. Adoption of social studies and instructional materials presented by Dr. David Mathis, and the report of recommended instructional materials from physical education's grades 9 through 12. A review panel that was presented by Ms. Chris Stewart. There were no information items, and so it was consented by the committee that we approved by the committee that we would place this on our consent agenda. So done.
Thank you very much. And our busiest committee today by far was certainly the Educator Licensure Committee. Ms. Chapman, you'd like to give us a report, please?
Yes, we dealt with 17 cases this morning, 1 public reprimand, 15 suspensions, and 1 permanent revocation, and these 17 were ratified during the full board meeting.
Thank you very much. And it was, in fact, a busy morning. A lot of folks, I don't think, realize how much work takes place during all these morning committee meetings before we get to this meeting. And certainly your group had a very full agenda today. The full board Educator Licensure Committee met after that. And as Ms. Chapman said, we did ratify those cases that they had heard in there at that time. Then we also had 4 cases that came before us as a full board committee. We had 1 that was a order of reinstatement. We had an application for certification, which was denied. We had an application for certification that was approved. And we also had a motion and an order to permanently revoke a certificate. So we had a little bit of everything in there this morning. And so that concluded the licensure case reports. And so now the consent agenda was distributed to all of you before. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair-elect. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. And the motion carries. This time we'll move along to our Board of Education reports. Dr. Mathis says we don't have a literacy update for this month, so that we can move right on into our district updates.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm here to share with you about Allendale County, Florence School District 4, and Williamsburg County School District. In Allendale, on the 28th of March, they had a community meeting at Allendale Fairfax High School, and this is a second in-person community meeting, which was well attended. UTU Enterprises presented a natural hair care workshop for the Allendale Fairfax High School cosmetology students on the 15th, and Saturday School resumed on March 12th to provide additional support to students in need of assistance in any of their subject areas. In Florence 4, Brockington Elementary, Johnson Middle, and Timmonsville High Schools hosted Beta Club induction ceremonies during the month of March. And Timmonsville High School seniors participated in the HBCU Fair in collaboration with Florence 1 schools. Williamsburg County School District hosted parent-teacher conferences on March 30th, and additional community meeting dates and times will be held to inform parents, guardians, and the community about graduation and summer school plans. The district also participated in a Cognia diagnostic review on March 28th and 29th to assess the district's strengths and improvement priorities. This concludes my report.
Do we have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I would like to add, I think you all probably saw the news and realized that Allendale County was hit by the tornadoes last week. In fact, probably some of the hardest. I think it went across to Clarendon, but I've been in touch with Dr. Gilmore. She did have some staff members whose homes were damaged a lot. And they have done some food drives to help. So if you have any, if you want to contribute or assist with any families there, I think if we could help you do that by working with Dr. Gilmore. But no one was injured seriously. School was closed on Thursday and Friday, but they're back in now having school. But she has been very involved. They used the elementary school as a shelter that first night. So things are better, but it was quite a scare for the community. And thank goodness those school districts down in that area did close that day at noon. And that's a hard decision that superintendents have to make on calling the weather, but they absolutely did the right thing to get the children home before the bad weather hit that afternoon. So just keep that area in your prayers, because it takes a long time to recover from something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to give any update on Florence?
Okay, certainly. And I can add to Dr. Gilmore, at the community meeting that Ms. Mack told about, board members were there. They have held a board meeting, and it went very well. There needs to be an election. I think one of the members has decided not to run again, so there may be some change on the Allendale board. But I think the superintendent was very, very pleased with how the members took care of business that night. Not a lot of action, but some training going on and plans for the future. And then they came to the community meeting. She recognized them there. She told me that they took part in the awards ceremony, so that went well. Same thing down in Williamsburg. The board is beginning to meet. Superintendent's attending the meeting, giving an update, and we plan to include them as the budget is developed in both Allendale and Williamsburg for this next year. So I think we're well on the track to transition in the fall back to local authority for those districts. We're watching it carefully, and the School Boards Association is assisting us by giving some extra training to those boards. In Florence 4 and Florence 1, the students have been working on their selection of courses, and Ms. Mack assists with that. Thank goodness she has been so willing to go and serve in Timminsville, spending a lot of time, I guess at least one day a week at the school, and maybe more on top of her other duties. But Florence 1 personnel is working with the Florence 4 families to make sure the students are signed up, ready to go. And I don't know if they've held the open house yet, but I know that that's in the plans to invite the families to come into the schools. We have recommended to the Florence County delegation, legislative delegation, that we would hope that they would do local legislation before this General Assembly session ends to take care of a few things, like the drawing of the lines for the new district, the taxation, that our recommendation would be that Florence 4 is held harmless on capital projects taxation, and of how in supporting the consolidation of the district. So that has not been done yet. They've got time to do that, and we are encouraging them almost on a daily basis that they need to take care of that. The consolidation will go forward with or without the local legislation, but there are some questions that it would be helpful if they were answered in local legislation prior to the consolidation on June 30th. So any questions about that or how it's going? I've been told to stretch, and I don't have a problem talking a lot, but that's about all I have to say. Parliamentary. Okay?
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And we do have a legislative report, and we could probably spend a long time on that, couldn't we?
Yes.
Good afternoon, members and Mr. Chairman. Fortunately and unfortunately, I don't have a ton to talk about. It has been a busy few weeks, but actually no bills dealing with the State Board or Education have fully completed the whole process of going through the House and the Senate, or vice versa. But we did spend a long time talking about saving women's sports. I worked at the House for 7 years, and I've never seen this many amendments. There were 950 amendments to one bill. Katie and I listened to about 75 of them, and then thankfully the weather and various other things ended that bill. So it has moved on to the Senate now. There has been more discussion about CRT. I don't know where that stands as far as which body will take that up next, but it is a bill. I believe it passed the House and has gone to the Senate right now, so we'll keep you posted on that one. 2 weeks ago, Superintendent Spearman and a few of us went to Senate Finance and presented to them. They are deliberating this week, and then in 2 weeks, they'll go to the Senate floor. So hopefully in the May meeting, I'll have some budget projections from the Senate. Crossover was last Thursday, so a lot of bills went away and typically come back, next year. Sine Die is actually May 12th. So again, hopefully the May 17th meeting, I'll be able to give you a few bills. There are 5 or 6 bills that deal directly, well, not deal directly, but involve the state board. So hopefully next time I'll come and tell you what those 5 bills do, along with any of the bigger education ones. So I don't have a whole lot, but a few things to report on. So if anybody has any questions, or if you have any bills you want us to track or have questions about, please let Katie
Well,
and
I don't
know.
want to put you on the spot, and I didn't have a chance to check, but I had heard that perhaps yesterday the Senate Finance Committee would look to make the teacher raises $2,000.
3,800 is the last I heard. It was 4,000 in the House, and it's dropped down to 3,800.
Okay.
But that could change within the next couple of days. So I know it was talked about 2,000 at one point, and then they bumped it back up some. So
Good. When they said 2,000, the person who told me, I said, I need to check on that, because
Yes.
that's a drastic change. So I'm glad to hear that they're moving it back up. Any other questions for Ms. Rubin?
Yeah, just for information, I think the Senate is struggling right now they've heard concerns from local districts about the new funding formula and the impact that it would have on different districts in different ways. And it appears that they're trying to answer those concerns. So they are looking at doing some funding on the old formula, some funding on the new formula, which we appreciate them looking at the concerns, but in some ways it gets more confusing. So it is a difficult year for us to interpret exactly how this all plays out down to the district level, and same for the Senate Finance as they work on that, and when it goes, to conference committee. But that is putting a different take on how the conversations are going, because they did have a number of district people come and talk, finance directors talk about the impact of the new funding formula. So yesterday, that was this is going to be done under the old formula, but any new money, you'll get the same money that you got last year, I believe is how they explained it, right, Kinsey? And under the old formula, but the new money that we have, that the state has and is appropriating, would go out under the new formula, which sounds good, but may be confusing. But we're trying to figure it all out.
Okay. Thank you very much. In other business, of course, your travel forms, you have those. Check those out, sign them, and get those turned in. As Ms. Hazelwood said, don't forget that the May meeting is bumped back a week to the 17th. Also, don't forget, and don't make us have to lock the doors, to remind you that we have 2:30 hearing this afternoon. So, and we do have to have a quorum for that to go forward. And then, to show some appreciation to each of you, as well to explain to those who may be watching, the reason this meeting moved so expeditiously this afternoon is because of the hours and hours that you put in reading all the materials in preparation for this meeting, the textbooks, Mr. Kowalski.
Well, thank you.
And your committee, Ms. Chapman, with those 17 case files, and the other board members with all of them, and the other committees, it takes a lot of time to prepare for that. And then the morning is filled with several hours of meetings. So if all that foundation wasn't laid, we wouldn't be able to expeditiously move through our agenda in this meeting. So I want to thank you for all the time and effort you put into that as well. And unless there's any other business to come. Yes, sir.
I just want to publicly thank Dr. Mathis for the excellent work that you put in the time and meticulousness in the textbook review, so thank you for that.
Anybody else have any other comments? If not, this meeting will be adjourned.